more thing I want you to try before you begin programming your drone. We already talked about how there's an emergency stop button here. And if you click that button, the drone will drop out of the sky. It loses power to all its propellers. If you were accidentally, the drone was drifting towards a person who was minding their own business at their desk, or heading towards the screen that we project on, or something like that, that you know is not normal and possibly even dangerous, I want one person to be standing right over here after they hit the green start button, move their cursor right over the stop button and be ready to cancel the program and drop the drone to the ground for safety. Now, we don't want to do that a million times. These drones are pretty tough, but we don't want to beat them up any more than usual. I'm sure that repeatedly dropping them to the ground is going to be bad for them. But I also think if we fly the drone and it gets caught in somebody's hair or hits somebody in the head, that's much worse than our drone getting a little beat up, okay? So we're going to practice two different ways of emergency stopping. I have the most simple of programs. You might have just done this a minute ago. You have a takeoff, hover for, I think I did 6 seconds, and then land. So while it's hovering, I'm going to demonstrate for you how to do an emergency stop. So let me move my camera out here. By the way, of course, my controller is plugged into the Chromebook, and my controller and my drone are synced. I can tell because they're flashing the same color. We know that the red propellers are the front of the drone. So I'm gonna put this drone, we have one of these puzzle mats here. Let's see if I can get this framed a little better with my camera. There we go. So you can see that the drone is on the puzzle mat, so hopefully when it falls, it's going to land on that and have a little bit of a cushion before it falls. All right? So the first thing I'm going to do is come over here. I'm going to push the play button, and then I'm going to move my cursor right over the stop button, and I'm going to do an emergency stop right in the middle of the program. So I hit play, the drone powers up, it lands, or takes off rather. I push the stop button, and it drops out of the air like a rock. Okay? Now, I actually had a situation where some of my students, their drone, for whatever reason, lost its Bluetooth connection to the Chromebook, which meant that we couldn't click on that button because it was disconnected from the whole thing. And so we've got this drone that's just flying out in the air here, and we couldn't figure out how to make it land. But there's one additional way to do it. And I'm going to show it to you from here, and then I'll show you what it looks like up close. So I'll put my drone in the middle of the puzzle mat, which you're going to use when you do these two tests. I want you to do it from the Chromebook and from the controller. So once again, I'm going to push play. The drone takes off. I pull down the left thing on my controller and push the top button. And that one even seems to hit a little bit harder. I don't know why or how it would be that way, but there's an emergency shut-off command on the controller, and I'll show you what that looks like over here. Let me straighten out the camera a little bit. Come back over here. If I pull back, let's see if I can hold this tripod still. If I pull back this joystick towards me, and there's a button on the top here, this guy here, if I do that at the same time, pull this back and push this, in fact, you might have heard that noise go off. That's emergency stop with the controller. So I want you to know how to do both of those. So maybe you take turns if you have a partner, and one of you does it with the stop button over here, and one of you does it with the controller, pulling this joystick back and pushing the top button here. I believe it's got a name. What's the button's name? L1. Okay, so if you push L1 while pulling the left joystick back, the drone is going to drop. And of course, let's make sure it's on top of this puzzle mat. You can see this guy bounced and kind of landed off to the side, but I think the drone is still in pretty good shape. All right, so you have to do that emergency stop practice before you get to do the rest of the coding in this activity.